from a tough desert plant. It's likely their ancestors did the same 30,000 years ago. Outsiders call them Bushmen. This group call themselves the Shom. Their ancient way of life depends entirely on their understanding of the environment. Right now, this koa tree is producing gum, for example, and that presents an opportunity for the hunters. A ball of the sweet gum will be the perfect bait to put on the trigger of a bird trap. After many years visiting the Kalahari, Isaac Barnard and Alec Campbell have come to appreciate the vital skills needed to live off the land.
He's stuck the gum on the end of the stick there.
Yeah, the gum, they use that little stick now as the trigger mechanism for the trap.
A noose of the rope they made will complete the trap, all placed just where the bird will come looking for gum. For Alec Campbell, the trap represents perfectly the Shom's knowledge of nature.
The skill is to know where to put it, more than how to make it. I mean, you have to be completely at one with this environment to be able to live here easily.
Although the Shom may be at one with their environment, they nevertheless exploit it extensively. Berries from the Kagum bush, for example, are used both for bait and for human food. Isaac Barnard's known this man, Rasiokwa, for 20 years.
He say that this is the bait for the francolins, mukweba, it's a red-crested koran and guinea fowls and all the big ground birds, you can say.
The hunters have a regular routine.
They set traps every day for meat. If they want meat, they go out and set traps. So one family may have 3 or so traps out, and almost every day they will have meat.
For the Shom, meat comes directly from the land, and so does shelter. Rasiokwa gathers dead tree branches while his wife, Zanakati, supervises construction. The Shom range over large areas, so it's common for family groups like this to build a simple structure for just a night or two's stay. It took less than 20 minutes to both gather the material and put together this particular shelter. As well as carrying their infants wherever they go, Shom women have a special responsibility. Right now, it's the rainy season in the Kalahari, and the desert sands provide a cornucopia of food. It's up to the women to find it. Like the hunters, they have to know where to look and what to look for. Nuts from the marama vine are in season at the moment. They're shelled on the spot as they're gathered. Alec Campbell made a detailed study of the wild plants these people use and counted over 150 different species, some for eating, some like this baya root for the water they contain. At this abundant time of year, it's only an hour or two's work for a woman to gather enough for her family for the day. About 80% of their rainy season diet consists of wild plants. The rest comes from hunting and trapping, birds, antelope, and game of many kinds. This man used the same kind of trap that was set with the tree gum, only he set his around the bird's own egg. Now we can take the bird and the bait. The Shom make fire by rubbing 2 sticks together. Rasioqua has done it so many times now, it's second nature to him. It takes less than a minute. On the fire, the women will cook the roots and nuts gathered from the desert that morning.
Nakira setting with Sedi Kwakwa. The Gladitania Mat Yano. They're digging a hole to put them in. You see this hole on this side here. I think they're going to take some ash out of the bottom of the fire, and then they will take the plants over there, those tubers, and they will put them in there and scrape the fire on top of them. Apart from what the men can hunt, this is their food. This is what they collect every day. And through the year, it changes. I mean, right now, we're getting, this is, that big one was a murama that they put in there, and some cucumbers and some murama nuts. In a month's time, they'll be getting bohemia nuts, and the murama will probably be finished. And then in a month after that, it'll be brachystoma, and then a month after that, it'll be something else. But throughout the year, they go on collecting food like this. They don't plough, and they have no money to buy food, so this is their food.
The Shom's existence looks effortless, and in some seasons it is. Rainy season is the best of times in the Kalahari. But in the dry season, plant food is much less abundant. Hunting becomes more important, and that makes it harder to provide food reliably. There can be droughts here, when the supply of plants and animals drops drastically. The Shom people, although they use the natural world, live in close harmony with it. Their hunting and gathering way of life compels them to keep moving to look for new plants, new game. They'll be back, but not before the earth has renewed itself. For almost all of human history, perhaps 100,000 years, people lived this way. Then, about 12,000 years ago, there was a change. It happened in the Middle East, and here at this cave site, the evidence is being uncovered. Hayanim Cave is famous among archaeologists for its occupation by a particular Stone Age people. For 11 seasons, Ofer Bar Yosef excavated inside the cave.
Good morning, Francois.
Morning, Ofer.
Now, Francois Valla is continuing on the terrace outside. Archaeologists call the people who lived here Natufians. It seems the Natufians invented a way of life which would have profound consequences for the earth.
So this means that the Natufian site expanded over this little geometric Kebaran settlement.
Yeah, for sure.
The Natufians took a liking to the magnificent Hayanim Cave. They moved in, and then they did something nobody had ever done before. They stayed.
As you can see, the Natufian people were sedentary, and they invested a lot of work in bringing in all these stones from outside the cave in order to build these rounded rooms. No mobile community of hunters-gatherers would do the same. Staying in one place meant also burying your dead, and we found in this cave over 36 burials. So it seems that the Natufians were not only the first to settle down, but also the first to mark their ownership of the territories and to say, this is our homeland.
Why did the Natufians settle down? Archaeologists think this man and his relatives were forced into it. 12,000 years ago, the Middle East climate changed. Rainfall was reduced, so hunting and gathering became harder. The Natufians had to concentrate on their best areas, like Hayanim, where the excavators are piecing together how they lived. Stone blades and scrapers are routine finds. And the rarer discoveries are showing why Hayanim was attractive. There was access to many different food sources from here. Snails and reptiles from wetlands, deer and other forest animals, and plant foods, cut with stone blades set into a wild cow rib handle. Foods like this precious find of 3 burnt grains of wild barley. So although the Natufians were a settled people, they still depended on hunting and gathering. But that combination can never last for long. Back in Botswana, it's possible to see why. Recently, the government put in a deep well so the Shome people can have permanent water. There's a school and a health clinic going up too. The result is that the hunting and gathering Shome are now settling down nearby. They're even adopting this new permanent house style, quite different from their Bushman-style shelters like this. When people settle down, a critical series of events follows. Mothers no longer have to constantly carry their children. They can be safely left with a grandmother. So the children of settled people are weaned earlier, and that means a woman can have her next child sooner. Large populations have to turn to agriculture because it uses so much less land. Half a square mile can support 50 people, while hunting and gathering takes 150 square miles to do the same. Right now, only a few Shome are farming. Most still hunt and gather. But they're settling down as land in Botswana gets scarce, and their numbers are growing. Before long, they'll all be using the new fields, carved out from virgin desert. Hunters like Rasiokwa have no option but to farm.